Hi, everybody. If you are starting to look for a new job, or maybe you're looking to start some sort of education and you have those dreaded application forms to fill out and interviews to look forward to, one thing you're going to come across is transferable skills. What are they? Do you have them? But more importantly, how do you talk about them? Let's get into it. Transferable skills, to put it simply, are things that you have, that you can do, that you have been doing, that are beneficial to other people in a different type of job or environment. So I'll give you some examples of transferable skills. These tend to be soft skills and things that you've probably developed without realizing that you've developed them. So transferable skills are things like PC literacy, communication skills, presentation skills, writing skills. It can be customer service. It could be selling or upselling, a bit more of a harder skill, but you might have done some sales already and not kind of realize it. So these are the skills that you gain around doing some of your core skill developments. And so you're likely to be working on something. So say if right now you are at university and you're applying for jobs and you want to know what transferable skills you've got. And you're probably sat there thinking, well, I haven't actually worked yet. Like, I'm looking to get my first job. I want to get my first job. I'm looking to get that initial route into a business, and they're asking me for all these transferable skills, and I don't have anything because I haven't worked yet. That's what we're going to look at today. We need to reframe the thinking around what transferable skills are. And then the next step I'm going to go through with you is how you talk about those transferable skills then in interview or when being questioned about your transferable skills. So when we're studying, we are busy doing lots of different tasks, right? You are researching for your latest project. Maybe you're doing your essay writing. You might very well be working on your exams, revision, all this sort of stuff. And you come to a job application and it's asking you for your communication skills. It's asking you for your team working skills. It's asking you for your interpersonal skills. And you're thinking, well, what are you talking about? And so this is where I want to show you what skills you've been gaining alongside the other things that you've been doing in academia. So when you are doing any sort of coursework or working inside of the classroom where you were working in a group to work on maybe a group project, universities, undergraduate and college absolutely love team working. They love to give you team working tasks, okay? Now, if your team working tasks are anything like my previous team working tasks, they have gone horribly, which I understand, but you've gained some valuable skills. You have gained the ability to work in a team because you've worked in a team. You have gained communication skills because you've had to put across your thoughts, feelings, and your direction and listen to other people's, taking on their views and opinions and coming up with new ideas. So idea generation, another soft skill that you will have gained. During that project as well, you might very well have used a PC to maybe type up some notes or to do some research. You have research skills because you've looked into the topic to gather a deeper understanding. Maybe when you were working on the team working project or your assignment that you've been working on or the task you've been assigned, maybe during that process, some people fell out. Some people weren't doing the work that they needed to do. And so then you've had to engage in conflict. You've had to try and do some conflict resolution. Someone isn't quite pulling their weight. And so maybe you instigated conversation with that person. Maybe you spoke to that person and you were sort of saying, like, what's going on? Why are you struggling? This is the work that you're expected to deliver as part of this group. Are you going to be able to do it or not? So you've been doing this negotiation and you have been doing this sort of conflict resolution. And so you have been doing all of this just while working on just one project. And you will work on several projects across the course of your studies. And so you've gained just in one assignment so many different soft skills that you didn't even realize that you had. And so the important thing is leveraging those soft skills and appreciating that you've gained them. If you think about when you started university, maybe you were quite shy and quiet, maybe you didn't really know anybody. And then towards the end of maybe even your your first year, if not sort of your first semester, you built some confidence. You have more confidence in yourself. Maybe you have a group of people that you like to speak to. And so you have this confidence that you've built up. And so you've gained these soft skills, these transferable skills through those types of conversations. Other types of skills that you would have gained: computer skills. So you will have been doing some sort of word processing, you would have been using emails, you would have been doing Excel likely to, maybe that's where you've captured some data before maybe doing some statistical analysis. Lots of companies have their own software, their own in-house systems and their own ways of doing things. They can teach you how to do all of those things. One thing that they kind of quite often need you to just be able to get on with is word processing a document for them, replying to some emails if they needed you to reply to emails, replying to emails from customers. And so having those computer skills are really beneficial. And you will have likely already done all of those things. You will be managing emails that come in from the university. Maybe you have had to email your lecturers to converse with them about assignment issues that you've been having or questions to do with a piece of coursework that you've been doing. And so you've got these soft computer skills that you've already developed. More specific sort of skills absolutely can go onto the CV. So if you've used any sort of software packages relevant to your studies, they are likely to be industry relevant or at least industry recognized. But your soft skill is your basic computer skills that you gained throughout your whole degree. Some of the other soft skills you will gain just from doing your studies, just in general, without collaborating with other people, are problem-solving skills. It's one of the biggest things actually that companies need, is somebody who can think for themselves, think on their own feet, and can solve problems. University is this unique opportunity, and college likewise, unique opportunity to set you up with those skills. You are presented with a problem. Maybe at the start of your first semester, you have your first essay question, and that essay question could be about absolutely anything. As a biologist myself, my natural example is going to be a biology example, but please feel free to insert essay title here, okay? But an example of an essay question could very well be, do street lighting in new housing developments impact the roosting and feeding behaviours of nocturnal animals? And so you have this essay question, and maybe you very first started, you don't have a clue about any of that. What do you mean lighting can affect nocturnal animals? And so you have a problem. You have this problem and you need to try and solve it. And so what do you do to solve it? So you might decide to look up nocturnal animal behavior. You might decide to look up if there's any research currently. Is there anybody else that's talking about if lighting affects nocturnal animals? You might choose to narrow it down and think, well, I'm going to look at bats. I'm going to look at bats specifically. Do the lights impact them? Because I'm thinking could actually be quite a good thing. Moths are drawn to lights. Bats like to eat moths. Maybe it's a good thing. So your way of thinking through that problem is something that you will uniquely hone during your time at university. So problem-solving skills are a huge thing that employers desperately want people to have, and it's something that you are uniquely able to show that you can do because you do it with every single assignment. Problem-solving skills are simply, how am I going to fix or find the answer to this question? Okay, so I think you get the idea that transferable skills are everywhere, and actually you probably have quite a lot of them. And you might even be thinking now of maybe some other skills that you have that you hadn't even really sort of thought were skills previously. And so now what I want to do is I want to discuss how to talk about those skills. This is one of the biggest things, and this is going to be the thing that makes it or breaks it for you. This is the aspect that's going to let a lot of people down. People don't know how to talk about their skills. So let's get into how you talk about transferable skills. So picture the scene. You are just about to go for your job in industry. Maybe you've applied for your dream job or a job that you would really like, or maybe it's going from college into university and you are sat in front of people that are interviewing you. They are sat there and they turn around to you and they say, so are you a good team player? And your brain just goes, yeah, great. And that's how you answer the question. And so then the interviewer is just going to sort of sit there for a few seconds and wait to see if you say anything, and it's going to get really awkward, and then they're going to move on. Now, that was a massive missed opportunity for you to completely sell the team working skills that you have gained. What employers or anybody that is looking to bring you into their organization, whether that is going into university or going into industry, they're looking for, how are you going to fit with my group of people? Companies have lots of their own systems, softwares, organization, ways of doing things, absolutely everything. And they can teach you all of those things. What they can't teach you is certain transferable skills that they're hoping you already have. So let's rewind back and let's ask ourselves the question again. And now let's answer it properly. Let's really try and think about our team working skills. So the question, how do you work in a team? And so you're going to give yourself a minute, because it is okay to have a minute. And you can say, I would consider one of my strengths actually as being somebody that works in a team. When I was doing my name module, my ecology module, we had a group assignment. We were in teams of 5 and we had this big question. The question we had to answer was, do streetlights affect the feeding behaviours of bats? So we all worked in a team, and I led the team. We dictated who did sort of what sort of roles, or maybe you want to say we chose aspects that each one of us would work on. We then created a group chat so that we could communicate with each other. We did face some problems. Teamwork always comes up with problems. We faced some issues. One of our members was not able to complete the work on time. And so we were in communication with that person, in communication with my supervisor, so they fully understood the picture. The work was still completed, we had an extension, or the work was still completed, we just had to divvy that work out between ourselves. It meant that we really had to push harder. We had to work longer to get all of the work done, but all of the work was done on time. And so now what you have just told that employer in that answer right there is, I can work on conflict resolution. I work really well with other people. I am quite managerial. If it is a case that you went into the team and you were like, right, okay, so I think what we should do is work on X, Y, and Z. Maybe you're not one of those people, and that is absolutely fine too. But you either are quite managerial or you can take direction very well. Either way, all depending on how you answered it, that is how you would answer that question. It shows that you can communicate with a group of people. It shows that if things start to go wrong, you are not afraid to seek escalation or to try and bring in a third party. It shows that you are dedicated to your work and that you are hardworking, and that where necessary and pushed, you will work over expectation to be able to deliver the result on time and as expected. And so by just slightly reframing the way that we answer that question, we have now shown our employer all of these additional transferable skills. So they now already know they've got someone that's going to work well with the people in their team, can communicate really well, and if they've got a problem, they're going to come to them. What more do you want in an employee? That's what they want. And so let's go through another example. So the interviewer might ask you something like, tell me about a problem that you faced previously, and tell me about a problem that you faced recently that went badly or didn't go the way that you expected it to, and what did you do about that? And so this puts us in a really uncomfortable position, because what this is giving us is something that we were not good at, something that we failed. So we need to talk about a time that we failed and how we coped with it. And as people, we don't really want to do that. We're trying to show ourselves in the best light possible. We're trying to show that our transferable skills are absolutely amazing. And so it can be really difficult then to talk through your transferable skills in this type of setting. But let's have a go anyway. So this is where, even when talking in the negative, we can still show how many transferable skills we have. And this example should be another example to show you how many transferable skills you really do have that you probably don't realize. So let's go through the example of, we have an essay and we know that we're going to be late. So we have the essay and we're not going to meet our deadline. So in order to answer this question, it would go something along the lines of, I was working on an essay where I was looking at the impact of 2 different fertilizer types on plant growth. So I was researching different types of fertilizer how they affect different types of plant growth, and how you can calculate yield from that. So I faced a few problems along the way. I needed to understand different types of fertilizer, how much is applied to land, and how each different type of fertilizer chemically affects each one of the plants. During the process of writing this essay, I had a personal problem and my essay was going to be late. So as soon as I realised that my essay was going to have to be late, I contacted my supervisor, I informed them of the problem, and I asked for the extension. Me and my supervisor had a little conversation backwards and forwards about how much of an extension I would need, the problems that I was facing, and whether they could be resolved sort of quite quickly or whether it was going to be a long-term ongoing problem. After having a few conversations, we realised that I just needed another 2 weeks of an extension for me to be able to get the work completed on time. The work was then completed a little bit early, and so I submitted it as early as I possibly could. And I got a really good mark for it, and I was really proud of it. So even though I faced some personal challenges in the middle of that, I sort of got over those challenges, and I got a really good result. And by the way, the best types of fertilizer are biofertilizer. I don't know. I would end it with some sort of we gave them this little hook at the beginning to say this was a project that we're working on, and then here was the outcome of the project. Now, just in answering that question, all of the transferable skills that I have shown somebody is that I have communication skills, I have accountability. So if I notice that there is a problem, I can escalate that straight up to somebody. I can use word processing, I can use Outlook or email software because I was emailing backwards and forwards. I can do conflict resolution. I can be held accountable to my actions. I understand time management and understand the importance of getting things done on time, but also understand that sometimes projects go over and sometimes a problem needs longer than you thought it was going to need. And you are not afraid to have that difficult conversation when those difficult conversations need to be had. That shows a level of strength of communication skills that lots of people don't have. It's quite surprising. Every single job or university degree that you will apply for, everybody will ask for communication skills. And it is surprising how many people don't demonstrate strong communication skills. So just in that one little example, I demonstrated that I have a strength of communication skills that would be different to lots of other applicants. And then I stand out, which makes it look great. And so I hope in this short video, I have helped you to just be able to see you have so many more skills than you realise. Just by thinking slightly differently about the work you've been doing, you don't need to directly apply your skill of, I wrote an essay on breast cancer treatment plans. I wrote an essay on breast cancer treatment plans. How is that going to translate to this job that I want to go for, which is zookeeper in a zoo or behavioral scientist or whatever, so it's those two things sort of don't directly sort of correlate, but actually the skills you have gained during your time at university or your time at college or your time in employment have huge benefits for other companies. It's just the way that you talk about them just needs to be slightly different. So I do hope this has helped. I hope it's helped you see what sort of transferable skills, what they are, how they will help you, and how to talk about them, more importantly. That is where you get the real strength and the real understanding of all of the skills that you have gained so far. So thank you so much for watching me. I hope you found this interesting. If you would like a video on maybe interview tips and tricks or interview types of questions, let me know in the comments below. Or if there are other sorts of study skills videos that you would be interested in, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, until then, have a great day. Bye.